After the Jays get that fantastic outing from Kevin Gausman today, they have an opportunity to sweep the Tampa Bay Rays in a mini 2-game set at the Trop, which seems like so unheard of for Jays fans. And then we saw this today and we're like, no, okay, Tropicana Field, Tampa Bay Rays, right back at it again. It's pretty insane how the Jays won the scoring in these two games 5-4. Yet they lose one of the games. They lose 3-2 today, this afternoon. And are now 58-46 on the year. And we can sit here and complain about Kikuchi and how a couple of those runs crossed and Adam Simber not being great. But in the end, your team only allowed 3 runs. That should be enough to win a ball game. But the Blue Jays only had 2 runs on 4 hits. 4 hits. And it started at the top of the first. Gurriel gets a hit to lead off the ball game. A few batters later, Teoscar Hernandez drives him in with an RBI double, and the Jays are up 1-0. Carvin copy of what we saw yesterday. Beautiful start. You got a couple hits in the first. And then the bottom of the third inning, usually Kikuchi has a very good first couple. But in that bottom of the third, and this is where he goes wrong, right? His stuff is good. But when he gets erratic, it's a disaster. He hits a batter and walks a guy. And yeah, gives him a single in between. But now the bases are loaded with 1 out. And Tampa Bay Ray fashion, they're not going to go that. They're not going to squander that chance. They get the sacrifice fly from Misak Paredes, and we're tied at 1. But then in the next half inning, Teoscar comes up and he drills one to left field and it's gone. Solo bomb for Teo and the Jays are back out in front. It's now a 2-1 ball game. He's got a multi-hit game. The Jays are back out in front. Kikuchi just need him to get through a couple more zeros. Well, in the bottom of the 4th inning, gives up single to start the inning. And then I believe he gets like a ground out after that, but the runner moves up to third. And then another sacrifice fly because, again, being the Tampa Bay Rays and being as scrappy as they are, Taylor Walls is a sac fly. In comes Randy Arozarena, and we're tied at 2. But the Jays' offense after that, out to lunch. Nowhere to be found. Got nothing the rest of the way. Maybe 1 hit the remaining 5 innings of this ball game. You know, in the bottom of the 6th inning off of Adam Simber, who lately hasn't been great, gives up an RBI single to David Peralta. In comes Jose Siri, and they get the 3-2 lead. And knowing what the Rays' bullpen is all about and the way the Jays were struggling offensively in this game, it looked quite tough to come back. The Jays, they might get 1 base runner the rest of the ball game. I think they had got second. I believe Vladdy got on with Alejandro Kirk at the dish. He was at second base with 2 out. Kirk couldn't drive, but I think he struck out. And that's about the only chance you had the remainder of the game. No offensive production at all from the Jays today. And that's the reason they lost this ball game. And this is the problem with this lineup, right? We've talked about it so many times this year. Is they're predictable and their approach is so all over the place. One day they can have a fantastic approach, like we talked about it yesterday. Teoscar having a great approach that last night. You know, he had a great approach today as well. Meanwhile, the other 8 guys in the lineup are kind of like just flailing and stuff. And I'm just like, what in the world? You know, we all know that the story about the soft-throwing lefty against the Blue Jays. It's a disaster waiting to happen. And obviously with Ryan Yarbrough on the hill, it happened. But again, he has an ERA north 5. This season, you should be lighting up. I think they have lit him up at least once this year. But not today. Offensively, like I mentioned, Teoscar Hernandez had a great day. 2 for 4. The run scored, couple RBIs and a home run. 4 hits total. The offense has been really struggling lately. I don't know how many times I've sat here and said, well, the Jays only had 4 hits. Well, the Jays have only had 7 hits. Only 8 hits. I think the entire Tiger series, they might not have even, I don't even think they hit double digits once in that series. And obviously in these 2 games, they haven't hit double-digit hits. They got to figure it out. I love Lourdes Gurriel in that leadoff hole because he's been getting on base a ton, and that's exactly what you want for your top of the lineup. But Bo Bichette's been really struggling. You know, Alejandro Kirk's on a mini little slump here. He's getting that average around that 300 mark now. He was hitting 315, 320 for the longest time, so he's coming down. You know, Matt Chapman hasn't got a hit in these first two games in Tampa. You know, Espinal's been ice cold over the last little while. You're not getting a lot of production from these dudes. Other than the bloop single yesterday, Danny Jansen hasn't done a whole lot lately offensively. Tapia, you know, these two games hasn't done. Oh, that's a lie. I can't say that. He had that single yesterday, so that's on me. But you haven't got a lot of production offensively from these guys, and they got to find a way. And that all starts with an approach. They have to have a good approach to the play. And you're about to play a team in the Minnesota Twins who are a much better team on paper than what the record suggests. And I'll go through that in a second. But before we get there, Yusei Kikuchi got the start today. He went 4 innings, on 3 hits, 2 runs, struck out 5, and walked 1. Only walked the 1 guy. Problem is, he also hit a guy, and the hit batter, and also the walk, amounted to them scoring that first run of the ball game. So it really hurts you that it happened all in that same inning. But he only had 3 hits over 4 innings. More often than not, that's not going to damage you. Only 2 runs over 4 innings for a guy who has been basically unplayable over the last little while. I understand the Rays lineup isn't the best lineup out there. We saw that with Gausman yesterday. But it doesn't matter. You got to go out there and you got to face that lineup. And he did a fine job keeping them in the ball game. When he left the game, it was 2-2. And Trent Thorne went a great clean inning of work, didn't allow a base runner, got a strikeout. He did a good job. Adam Simber, though, went a third of an inning, allowed a couple hits, 1 run, and walked a batter. When you're Adam Simber and you are not a strikeout pitcher, you cannot be walking guys. You got to play to contact, and you got to throw strikes. And albeit, you know, I think he gave up a single, then they stole a base, and then on the ground out, they moved up, and that's kind of how they got that guy to third base to get the sacrifice. Or then Peralta hit the single to score that run. So it was a lot of small ball from the Tampa Bay Rays, and what else is new? You know, and then Tim Mason did a fantastic job keeping that game, because it was like first and third with 1 out when Mason, or first and second, when he came in there. Neither run scored. So he did a great job settling that thing down in 2/3 and then got a strikeout, nothing else doing. David Phelps pitched a good 8th. He went an inning, allowed a 7th. Pitch, he had a clean inning, strikeout. He walked the batter, that was it. And then Trevor Richards went an inning, allowed 1 hit, a couple strikeouts. So you got some good bullpen work. But your team had 4 hits. And it was a disaster waiting to happen in today's game, right? A noon game at the Trop on a Thursday. Wednesday, excuse me. My days are all over the place. The fans aren't going to be there. Like, it was pretty... I mean, I actually wasn't watching the game. I told you guys yesterday I was obviously working, so it was kind of hard for me to watch the ball game. But I'm assuming there was nobody in the crowd. Wednesday afternoon at the Trop just sounds terrible. You know, and for the Blue Jays, the noon starts are weird. They really are. But you got to get up and play. And you didn't. And you lost. And with teams like the Seattle Mariners, obviously bringing in Luis Castillo, they're buzzing, they're beating the snot of the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. You know, they're playing some really good ball over the last couple days. You can't afford to go on a win-loss streak because a team like that's going to come right on your neck and beat you down and pass you. And the last thing we want is to go to Seattle for a wild card series. That's the last thing we want to do. Yeah, Toronto Canada will take over. Yeah, they did that for a 4-gamer, and look how that went. So, doesn't mean squat. Let's preview the Minnesota Twins series. We're going to wrap this thing up. Game 1, tomorrow night. It's a 7:40 first pitch there in Minnesota. Alek Manoah gets the ball versus Sonny Gray. Yeah, you remember Sonny Gray? I didn't realize he played for the Twins until I looked at the damn pitching matchup. Game 2, Jose Barrios, and of course, facing his former team in Minnesota. And that's to be determined right now for the Twins, and it might be one of the guys they've acquired. I can't remember who they acquired. They acquired some good players, but I can't remember if it was a starter or not. The next 2 days are to be determined for the Blue Jays. You know why? Ross Stripling hits the IL, and I'm like, wouldn't it have been nice to have some starting pitching reinforcements? Because they call up, who the hell would they call up again? I don't know, some guy I've never heard of. Well, I've heard the name, but I'm like, you're probably not great. So that's going to be fun. And that's against Dylan Bundy. That's a 7:10 first pitch. By the way, game 2 with Barrios on the Hill, that's an 8:10 first pitch. So with Bundy at 7:10, and then to be determined there in the finale of the series. And you're facing Chris Archer, who's not having a bad year, just a shade over 4 ERA. That's a 2.10 first pitch on Sunday. By the way, Jays fans, those videos, well, tomorrow's will be fine, but the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday videos, I'm not sure if I'll be able to get them out to you guys. It's possible. I'll be at my friend's cottage, and if you guys know from last season, I was able to do that. Remember that George Springer big-time home run against the Red Sox? I was able to get those videos out to you guys, but it was very sporadic and late, and it was kind of tough at times. So I'm just letting you know now the final 3 games of that series will be in that situation, but tomorrow will be just fine. All right, so you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. If you enjoyed the video and not the game this afternoon, smack that like button. Do appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button. You guys not already. Comment down below. Thoughts on the video, thoughts on the game. Would you like, would you not like from today's game for the Toronto Blue Jays? The Twitter link is down below, so follow up, send me again for that great stuff. The Instagram link is also down below, so follow up there if you guys have not done so already, of course. And I will talk to you guys Jays edition tomorrow night. Game 1 of the 4-game set in Minnesota. Alek Manoah, Sonny Gray is a pitching matchup. 7:40 first pitch there in Minnesota. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and not the ball game this afternoon. We'll talk to you guys then.